Up. All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is it's August 19th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I lead and I'm a lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That is the day trading service for the hit and run candlesticks. Hey, let's take a look at some charts today. See what we got going on. Made 35K on a 270K account. Remember, I lost 50K yesterday. Nice, that feels good. Making some of that back. All right, so what did we have today? Let's move this over. Well, actually, we can just flip this to a 10 and slide this over. Move this out of the way. All right, so here's today's price action. Little whip up and then a 10-minute downtrend underneath VWAP right here. See how the 10-minute downtrend breaks away from VWAP? That is an excellent profit-making environment whenever you get that. Nice 10-minute trend, and it lasted from, well, let's look at this. Lasted from 10:40 all the way until 4 o'clock right there. 10:40 to 4 o'clock. So actually all day long right there on that 10-minute downtrend. So I traded some 638 0 DTE puts, made 21K on those, and here's me trading those. And you can see all I'm doing is buying the low of the option candle and selling the high of the option candle. Okay, because I got a 10-minute downtrend intact, so I'm fanning out or spreading out a net of sell orders up top, and I'm fanning out a net of buy orders on the bottom underneath my cost basis. That's all I'm doing. 10-minute downtrends intact, so I continue to spread out my nets. That's all I do there. That's 21K on those 638 puts. All right, 0 DTE. All right, 3,800 on the 638 puts. 1 day till expiration. Again, the same thing. I'm buying the dips in the candles, the low of the candles, and selling the peaks, and then reloading, and then selling the peaks, and then reloading, and then selling the peaks, and then reloading and selling the peaks. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Just watching to see if my 10-minute downtrend is intact, and then I'm reloading right there. Okay, so now I've got 625 3 DTE puts, 2,900 on those. Again, same thing. I'm buying the dips and selling the peaks of the candles, the option candle. Okay, because we got a 10-minute downtrend intact there. 2,100 on some 620 puts. All right. Again, my eye's burning. Selling the peaks of those candles, and then buying the dips, selling the peaks, buying the dips, selling the peaks, and buying the dips of the option candles. Okay, I'm looking up here. My 10-minute downtrend's intact, so I'm going to continue to work this by spreading out a net of sell orders up on top and spreading out a net of buy orders underneath. $800 on some 641 calls. I just did a short sell on those. Sold them for 3 and covered for 1. $100 on some 630 puts. And you can see right there, I bought on the dip and sold into the rally of the option candle right there. $19 on some 635 puts. That was something that I held over. I was probably carrying that from a prior day. And then I also made some on QQQ. Okay, made 19K on QQQ again. Buying the dips, all right, of those option candle. Got my 10-minute downtrend intact, and selling the peaks of the option candle. Reloading and selling the peaks. That's all I'm doing. And that was the QQQ. That was 570 0 DTE puts for that QQQ trade. So let's go look at the markets. Let's slide this over. You've seen that. Slide this all the way over, and let's look at SPY. Okay, into the close, we got a 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. Got a 2-hour downtrend. 3 EMA is underneath the 8 EMA here. Okay, so 10-minute, 2-hour downtrend, 10-minute uptrend on the daily chart. Okay, we got to pull back to the 8 EMA and a little bit more, almost touching the 17 and the anchored VWAP from low of day on 8/1. That would be August 1st. So we'll see what happens there. If they're going to open up down here, tag that, and then rip it back to the upside. We'll see what happens. This is SPY on the daily chart. All right, on the weekly chart, still in an uptrend. You can see the green dots right here, green dots. You can see the 3 is on top of the 8, price is on top of the 3. Weekly's got an uptrend. Monthly, same deal. Okay, candlesticks on top of the 3, 3 on top of the 8, 8 on top of the 17. So monthly uptrend, weekly uptrend, daily uptrend, still in a daily uptrend. See the green dots. Still got the 3 on top of the 8. We did close underneath the bullish trap here today. I figure we'd probably come down here and spike this probably tomorrow morning, and then hopefully we can get a reversal instead of some continuation. We'll see what happens. There's SPY on the daily chart. Let's take a look at QQQ. On the daily chart, we got a lower high and a lower low. QQQ, of course, closing underneath bearish cross and underneath the 17 EMA. Still in an uptrend. It has to take out this low to negate the uptrend status that it's in and convert it to a downtrend. So QQQ still in an uptrend, still bullish up there at the top of quadrant 4. Let's take a look at IWM. All right, IWM still in quadrant 4. That's bullish, still in an uptrend, hasn't made any lower lows. IWM consolidating up here in quadrant 4. IWM today put in an outside day that's a higher high and a lower low, closing underneath, closing inside a bullish trap and over the rising 17 right there. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow got an outside day as well, a lower high, no, a higher high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Diamond Dow may have put in a new all-time high. High there is 452.15. High there is 452.05. So new all-time high for Diamond Dow. All right, so let's move this over here. That is a new all-time high for Diamond Dow. Drop the mic, it just doesn't get any better than that. All right, let's take a look at FNGU. All right, lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish cross and underneath the 17 EMA, just like QQQ. Still consolidating up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Still in a downtrend because they made a lower low right here. So they're still in a downtrend. They were moving up. Now they've started to roll over. We'll see what happens with FNGU, if the bulls will come in and rescue the program tomorrow morning. All right, so there's FNGU on the daily chart. Let's take a look at our technicals. T2101, this is the breadth, okay? So we lost some breadth today, okay? No doubt, obviously we came down, okay? So lost a little breadth. As you can see, we were up here and we lost some. So now we're starting to put in a kind of a head and shoulders pattern on the breadth, all right, for that rally. All right, T2122. We made our way into the buy zone and even made an appearance inside the overbought zone, brief appearance anyways. From there we got tossed out by the bears, spent a little bit of time in the buy zone, got tossed out by the bears again. All right, family of bears there, okay. Price makes, note, a higher low and a higher high, but quickly losing a lot of that. Okay, making yet again another lower high and a lower low, and then an even lower low, and then we've got a higher high here. So trying to climb back up into the buy zone. So it's very possible we get a bounce tomorrow. If we even do tag that August 1st low of day anchored VWAP. We'll see what happens. So we spent the day, most of the day, in the buyer's chop zone. We're still above this uptrend line, and we're still on the backside of this downtrend line. So we'll see what we're going to do. All right. Good news is we did make a higher low here on the 18th, and we made a higher high on the 19th. And then we came back and made another higher low. That's an uptrend right there. Okay, if they can just maintain this, they need to hold the higher ground though. They're very good at holding the lower ground, not holding the higher ground though. See, like this, I want to see something like that, or consolidation inside the buy zone. I'm not getting that yet. T2123. All right, you can see right here we're making higher highs, so there's an uptrend going on in the T2123. We're up over the 15-minute 200 SMA. Okay, you've got a price action moves up and then over to the right, so that's a bullish environment whenever we can get price to move up. All right, up and over to the right. Now we're getting a breakout, hoping this is not a failed breakout, hoping this is just a retest of the base and they come off in this direction up here. We'll see what happens tomorrow, okay? This is T2123, 15-minute chart in an uptrend over the 200 SMA. That's bullish. Price acting bullish by moving up and holding that higher ground. That's bullish. That's like planking for 3 days straight, okay? That's a show of strength right there. Okay, that's T2123. Let's look at the 3-bar chart. 3-bar chart still shows us up here in quadrant 4. That's bullish. We're still up over this hooking 200 SMA. That's bullish. Still in an uptrend on the 3-bar chart and on the 15-minute chart. So we got the smaller time frame and the larger time frame in an uptrend. Okay, you got price action right here. Got a low, making some higher lows right here and here. Got a high, higher high, and higher high right there. So still in an uptrend on T2123. Okay, 3-bar chart. FNGU today selling off from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, all the way, just selling off. And you can see quite different on T2123. Okay, remember T2123, we kind of moved up, all right, but we couldn't hold that higher ground. We pulled back to test the base. Now maybe we go up twice as high. We'll see what happens. This is T2123 15-minute chart. Again, FNGU, much different than T2123. T2123 is all of the NYSE, whereas FNGU is just 10 of the most heavily weighted securities in the QQQ and SPY. So here we got price action here just melting off all day long, all right? Still holding the higher ground, okay? If you look at FNGU, okay, we're still up here. Not looking like a double failure, if you ask me. But you can see right here, we had a breakout and we got rejected, okay? We got another breakout and we got rejected, okay? So that's 2 rejections. So it's kind of unclear where we head off tomorrow. Usually wherever the FNGU goes, all right, it kind of drags the market with it. As you can see, T2123 was up there, but unfortunately it wasn't strong enough to overpower the 10 of the most heavily weighted securities in the QQQ and SPY as they drag the market lower, all right? So you can see T2123, remember T2123, opened up and kind of gapped up on the 15-minute chart. See, they opened up and they couldn't quite hold the higher ground, but no, look, they spent the whole day consolidating over prior consolidation. Okay, so they were ahead of schedule. Notice they were above all of yesterday's price action and the day before's price action. But you look at FNGU, a little bit different. Okay, they're closing well below the prior day's price action. So you can see they were the dominant figure or the dominant vehicle today, dragging the market lower and lower. All right, so that's FNGU. Not sure where we go from here, unless of course they can recover this. Maybe they hit major support. We'll see. Major support would be the bottoms of all of these. See all of these valleys that come down, or tails that come down. This would be the major support. So maybe they come all the way down here. Hopefully they can J-hook around and start heading back up. We'll see what happens. All right. Got a double peak or a double failure on the breakout of this bullish plank right there. All right, that's it for me for today. Hope you all had a good day. It was a nice, easy day. Nice 10-minute uptrend that ripped away from VWAP. Again, that's our trade. 10-minute downtrend. Again, that's our trade whenever we see price separate itself from VWAP, thereby, bursting the rubber band candle or rendering it useless. And then you can see price just melted off all day long. It was almost like a trend day for the bears. All right. All right, that's it for me. Hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I will see you all at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you.